Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you've been following my pregnancy journey, you know I've talked about my first trimester, my second trimester, how it started off smoothly, the ups and downs. In today's video, things took a different turn. My third trimester was nothing like I expected. I was diagnosed with something I have never heard of before. I'll be sharing how it changed my birth plan completely, how I went into labor, and how I had an emergency CS at 37 weeks while being awake. This is one of the scariest and most emotional experience of my life, but I thank God it turned out to be a testimony, a beautiful testimony. So grab your drink, get comfortable, and let me walk you through the final chapter of my pregnancy journey. As I entered my third trimester, I was about 34 weeks or more, excited and counting down the days until I could finally meet my baby. Everything had been going fairly smoothly, so I didn't expect anything unusual when I went in for my normal routine checkup. After some tests, the doctor came in and told me they found protein in my urine. I didn't really understand what she meant by they found protein in my urine. That was when she told me that I had preeclampsia, a condition that I've never had before or experienced before. Both in my first pregnancy, I never had protein in my urine and I never had preeclampsia. Going through preeclampsia was one of the hardest parts of my pregnancy. It's not just the physical symptoms, it's the fear, the uncertainty, the way my birth plan has suddenly shifted in a direction that I never imagined, health issue that I've never had before. The hardest part was knowing that my baby might not be delivered early, might be delivered early and will be placed in the ICU. The thought of it broke me. The thought of not bringing her home with me, broke my heart as well. But I learned something from it. I learned so much from the experience. I learned that pregnancy is not always predictable or picture perfect. I learned to listen to my body, to take symptoms seriously, and to ask questions when I don't understand. Ask questions when I don't understand. Most of all, I learned how strong I was and how powerful a mother love can be even before the baby is born. Because when my brother died, I didn't pay attention. Suddenly I started developing that back then I was in Nigeria. I started developing swollen legs. I started having a lot of headaches. I started feeling a lot of things, but at that time I was grieving, so I didn't pay much attention to it. I can equally remember going to hospital. The doctor told me that my BP was high, but they didn't say anything more. It was just my BP was high. I told him that I lost my brother at that time. He was like, okay. So, but when I came to the country that we reside in, that was when the doctor told me that I had preeclampsia. And I thank God that everything ended in a beautiful testimony. The doctor told me that preeclampsia can lead to organ damages, especially the kidney. She told me that it's also dangerous for mother and the baby, especially if it's not treated or monitored closely. She told me they will give me 1 week to see if it will get better. But if the protein was still there or if my condition get worse, they will have to operate and deliver my baby earlier than expected. That was around 34 weeks. So when I come back, the week is going to be around 35 weeks. And they will have to place my baby in the nursery intensive care unit till full term. I was scared, overwhelmed. Everything suddenly felt so unreal and fragile to me. Out of fear, while I was still with the doctor, I sent message to my husband. I told him that I had the found blood in my urine, whereas I was meant to say protein in my urine. He couldn't come with me because he had an emergency at work, which he couldn't come with me, and it was just my normal regular routine checkup. No big deal. So I had to go alone. So when I sent him that message, within a short period of time, he arrived at the hospital because I was still with the doctor. He walked in immediately to the doctor and started asking him. When he walked in, I could feel the panic, the fear in him. Then the doctor had to explain to him that it was not blood, but rather it was protein in my urine. She told him that the tendency of early delivery, if the preeclampsia is, if the protein in urine is still there, how I need to be monitored, and if it's still there, they will have to deliver my baby early, and the baby will need to be placed in the intensive care unit.